Salutations everybody, it is Maddie here today discussing the Xbox Scorpio. If you guys did not know, the specs for this system were recently revealed and a lot of people have been talking about it, so I wanted to toss my hat into the ring on this very topic. Now I want to preface all of this discussion by letting you guys know that I am absolutely by no means a wizard when it comes to specs within game hardware. I know a very decent amount, but it's nothing special whatsoever, and I thought Digital Foundry did a fantastic job on describing what is so good about the Xbox Scorpio specs, so I'll have their video linked in the description down below. So if you're like me and you're just pretty average when it comes to specs in games, or if you're an expert, I think he does a good job appealing to both audiences. So this will be a more generalized discussion on what was revealed about these specs, and I had a couple of major takeaways on this. The first one is that he highlighted how easy it was for the Turn 10 team to port their engine onto the Scorpio. And I think that is huge because not only is this big for games that want to be upscaled onto the Xbox Scorpio, but it's also good for engines to become assimilated with the Scorpio to start new projects on there. Regardless of what these specs are, it's good news that it took the team, I think he said only 2 days to get the engine functioning on the Scorpio with this brand new tech, and they were all blown away by that. One of the major complaints with the last generation being the 360 and the PS3, mainly the PS3, was that developing for the PlayStation 3 was so difficult, and that with this generation it's become a little bit easier to develop games for, but the Xbox One is now what the PS3 was in that previous generation, and it seems that Sony has taken the hardware crown, and now Microsoft hasn't taken kindly to that and has made what seems to be a very developer-friendly console, and that's always good news because that means bigger, better games, and when it's easier to get your engine working on that new hardware, that's amazing news for everyone, regardless of what party you favor. What I also think is important about getting the specs out of the way here in April is because now at E3, Microsoft can focus on a number of things. Number one being the announcement of the price and release date of the Xbox Scorpio. It's inevitable, but mainly and most importantly, the games. That is huge from Microsoft because as far as I'm concerned, Sony is absolutely fucking destroying it right now between Persona, Neo, Kingdom Hearts, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then in the future, I think it's unfair to just say, oh, they're gonna kill it because they have exciting games coming up, but they do have a good palette of games on the horizon, pardon the pun, such as, for example, for me, Spider-Man 2017. I mean, oh my goodness, I am so looking forward to that. Yuri Lowenthal is the voice of Spider-Man. Let's get it. Anyway, getting off track here is that Sony has been killing it, and Microsoft has released this year Halo Wars 2, which I thought was a decent game, but I mean, it's nothing in comparison to what Sony's done. So that's why it's important that the specs are out there in the wild now. Let people talk about it. I know it's for a lot of the hardcore audience out there, and most people just care about the games and how much it is, and that's exactly what Microsoft is going to be able to focus on come E3, and that's important because we see what happens when, for example, Sony or Microsoft have sat down at a press conference and focused too much on the numbers, on the specs, on the tech thing, where yeah, it's interesting, but it takes away from what we're really excited about and what we're looking for in their shows, which is just show us the games. It's that simple. And while yes, we've seen Sony many times guilty of it, pimping their numbers on how many systems they sold, how much they're dominating the competition, they do it all the time. It gets a little tiresome, and we just want to see what games are going to be on your system this year and leading into next. And that is exactly what Xbox is set up for now at their E3 conference, thanks to the reveal of these specs, because they did it at just the right time where the news will circulate for quite a while. There will be many discussions, much speculation. It'll build up the hype and anticipation. And now Microsoft just needs a date, a price, and a lot of games to show off. And I really think they're gonna have to go hard this year because Sony had a nice, early, and amazing start to 2017. So Microsoft has a lot of catching up to do, and I'm hoping that they are going to show their best cards come E3. While discussing the price point, it's worth mentioning that Polygon already highlighted that the Scorpio is going to be for, quote, premium customers, meaning that this isn't going to be cheap, people, and that's not surprising given the hardware on the inside of the console. So I'm imagining that the Scorpio is going to sit around the $500 to $600 price mark. I'm hoping they can keep it at the $500 mark because that's what the Xbox One launched at, and considering it is more powerful than the Xbox One, I think that'll be a good bang for your buck kind of thing in the terms of comparison. But all in all, I just want to toss out a couple of thoughts there that it's great news that there's easy engine ports on the Xbox Scorpio. On top of that, they're going to be able to focus on games at E3. And lastly, that this is going to be a decently high price, I'd say, for most gamers out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Xbox Scorpio, so be sure to fire away in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, the links are in the description down below. Be sure to consider contributing to our Patreon. It helps fuel all the content we create here. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.